Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we've got some very, very big news for the Pokemon trading card game, and that is the news that there are a whole bunch of starter decks coming out. Violet and Scarlet EX starter decks have been revealed, and we did talk about these before. Now, we did see listings for these previously, and they are going to feature, as we said before, Decidueye, Victini, Greninja, Miraidon, Clefable, Koraidon, Houndoom, and Melmetal. And I do think it would be remiss if I didn't mention something the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net pointed out. Not all of these Pokemon are currently available in Scarlet and Violet, which does make it slightly weird that they've all gone and got their starter decks here. But now I've mentioned it, so we can move on with our lives. What is really cool is, along with these starter decks, which can just be bought as they are, pick your starter deck, move on with your life just like normal, there's also what's called the omakase starter decks. Now, omakase is a Japanese phrase which basically means chef's choice. It means leave it up to somebody else. In a restaurant, you would go in there, and that would be the phrase that would basically mean, give me whatever you recommend. Well, that's what the omakase start decks are. And when you go and buy that, you might just get one of the 8 decks which we're going to be talking about this morning. But you might also get one of 2 other decks. We don't know. It's random. So the omakase start decks are the 8 start decks we're mentioning today, plus 2 others that, as it stands at the moment, we have no idea what they are. We do not know which ones, I'm sorry. And yeah, you just get one of them at random. Wish I could tell you what the other 2 were. Would love to know what the other 2 are. Maybe one of them's gonna be Mamoswine. It's not, but it's a nice idea now, isn't it? So that's the deal. That means we've got 8 new EXs to have a talk about, and that means we do need to get rolling. I did all these translations myself, but I did check with the lovely Antoine Billet to make sure I'd not done anything particularly stupid. So starting off then here, we've got ourselves Decidueye. Decidueye's got the ability Untethered. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon is on your bench, switch it with your active Pokemon. If this Pokemon is active, switch it with one of your bench. It basically allows Decidueye to switch in and out of the active, but specifically only Decidueye. It's a cool ability, but on a stage 2, I worry it's not really enough. Nice to always be able to switch in and out, but you need a really good attack to pair with it. 1 grass, 1 colorless energy, 130 damage, plus 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. I'm not sure this is it, ladies and gentlemen. I am not sure this is the attack we want. Bearing in mind this is a stage 2 for 2 energy, and you're doing 130 to the active and 30 to one of the bench. I don't think this is good enough, honestly. This strikes me as, well, kind of a classic stage 2, basically. The ability's kind of cool, but I don't think it's good enough. The attack's alright, but it doesn't do enough. And we're left with that classic situation of, it's not really enough. There's nothing here which really, as far as I can see, and correct me if you disagree with this, of course, there's nothing here that I can really see that seems to do more here. There's nothing here that seems to have a better option. And that's kind of where we are, I suppose. I don't think it's bad. I think it's fine. But I don't think it's good. Sorry. Now, Clefable EX has a really nice ability. Your Pokemon that have any psychic energy attached to them have free retreat. Free retreat to any Pokemon that have psychic energy attached. And this I actually like quite a bit, I'll be honest with you. I would much prefer it on a basic Pokemon than a stage 1. And I don't think that's a controversial statement, but the fact that you can just give free retreat to any of your Pokemon, and of course, important to note, it doesn't have to be Psychic Pokemon, it just has to be Psychic Energy. And this just gives you a good option. Means you can always get out of the active, not unlike we saw with Decidueye just a moment ago. It's not bad, ladies and gentlemen. It's not great, but it's not bad. Now again, we will be needing a competent attack to go with this. What do we have? Well, we've got free Psychic Energy, 170, and you can move your Psychic Energy around the field as you like. And again, I'm just not sure this is quite good enough. It's not bad, but 3 Psychic Energy is quite a lot to ask for. And it only does 170 damage. Now, I do very much appreciate the fact that you can move all your energy around. That's lovely. But it's an expensive attack. It only does 170. Even for a stage 1, I'm not sure it's good enough. Though, do watch this one, because this actually has a really, really nice ability, which could end up seeing it see a bunch of play as we move forward. You have been warned. Now, Victini comes along here. Now, this got 190 HP, which is, of course, notable because that is low. That is far lower than we would usually expect on a Pokemon EX. You have been warned. And we've got single energy, 30 damage. You may switch it to the bench. You don't have to. You may. It's up to you. It's alright. It's a basic Pokemon that can do a bit of damage and flick to the bench. Certainly, if you're hitting for weakness and you can really make the most of this, that's awesome. Not absolutely essential or anything silly like that, but actually kind of a useful attack. And then free energy, 220, and it can't attack next turn. And there are a couple of reasons why I actually really like this. Firstly, remember that Magma Basin is an option. That only gets 1 energy, admittedly, where you need 3, but attach for turn, Magma Basin, energy from somewhere else. 220 is a magic number to get Pokemon V. It's not perfect, but that ain't too bad. Now, Greninja comes along here, and we've got ourselves another stage 2, and remember, EXs are the correct stage, so stage 2s are inherently going to be a little bit awkward. We've got single energy, 40 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's not good enough for a stage 2. If you've gotten all the way up to your stage 2, sure, it's single energy and that's lovely, but if I've got my stage 2 out and I'm using it to do 40 damage, and yeah, it can hit anywhere, but if this did 70 and I could KO Evolving Basics on the bench, I'm down. 40's not good enough. But 2 energy, if your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage, this does 120 more. This one I could kind of get behind. Obviously, we've got stuff like Hawlucha at the moment to do the extra damage, so that's not a problem. And I know it only hits the bench, so you need to kind of prepare, but it's really not the end of the world. And then you're doing 240 for 2 energy? That ain't too bad, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't too bad at all. So this one I can kind of get behind. But again, you are talking about a stage 2, and that is a little bit awkward. Plus, we kind of need to mention Melanie can't accelerate to EXs. Melanie can only be accelerating to Vs, so that is kind of annoying as well. Now, Miraidon, I actually really like the first attack on Miraidon here. What we've got, firstly, we've got free retreat. Do not sleep on free retreat. Free retreat is awesome. Free retreat in basic. Single energy, 20 damage, draw 2 cards. I really like this. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is some kind of like absolutely stunning, amazing thing that's going to break the game or anything stupid like that. But I've got a basic Pokemon with free retreat that can deal 20 damage and draw cards. I get a bit of damage on the board. I get some card advantage. This is really, really nice. I am a fan of this attack. Great in the early game, and then you retreat from there. Free energy, 150, and you attach a lightning energy from your discard to one of your bench Pokemon. Yes, we do have that item card that can accelerate energy. Electric Generator, which is quite nice, because that can get the energy on a little bit easier, which is lovely. But we're still in that situation where 150 doesn't really KO anything that relevant, so it's a little bit annoying. As for the attaching energy, yeah, it's nice, but it's 1 energy and it's from your discard, and if you can get a KO with this, I like it, but it's not as good as the other Miraidon. Now, Koraidon here, again, I really like the first attack. Single fighting energy, 20 to the active, 20 to 2 of your opponent's bench. So you do 20 to the active, 20 to one bench, 20 to another bench. This is good. This is really good for spreading damage around the field. Is it enough? Now, again, you combine it with Hawlucha, and that's quite nice. But if this was 30, then it would KO 60 HP basics, and with Hawlucha, 70 in 2 hits. And that would be well relevant. 20 is a little bit lower. And this is kind of my problem here. I think doing 30 to 2 bench Pokemon would be so much better, but I think Pokemon kind of know that could be really bad for evolving decks, and that's why they haven't let us do it. Of course, Landorus EX, way back in Boundaries Crossed, did this. I don't think it's a coincidence that they've stopped us doing this. Too powerful, too damaging for evolving basics. Sorry about that. Second attack, free energy, 230, 30 to itself. Decent damage, hard to get the energy acceleration with fighting, but this is pretty good damage on a basic Pokemon, something to bear in mind. Houndoom EX, 2 darkness energy, 90 damage. If the defending Pokemon is a basic Pokemon, it cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. Well, we've seen this. We've seen these kind of attacks in the past being pretty good, honestly. We've seen it on Flying Pikachu VMAX, which is quite nice. However, Flying Pikachu VMAX is the other way round. So Flying Pikachu VMAX gets immunity from basic Pokemon. Your opponent has to get you out the active to hit. But this stops basic Pokemon attacking, so all the Pokemon needs to do is get to the bench and then come active again and it can attack. Or swap for another basic Pokemon that is able to attack. It's not as good as Flying Pikachu VMAX. Flying Pikachu VMAX is the right way round. This is not. And then free energy, 220, 30 to itself. It's not bad. I mean, Dark Patch is around right now, so the energy isn't terrible. 220 is the magic number for Pokemon V. I just don't know if I want to use 2 of my Dark Patch to get this rolling. Not bad, though. Stage 1, 220, we got energy acceleration. Decent damage, but I don't think it's anything special. And then finally, Melmetal EX. Single energy, a touch up, and actually 300 HP on a stage 1 is really good. I should mention that. 300 HP, stage 1, very high. Single energy, attach up to 2 metal energy from your deck to this Pokemon. I've never been a fan of attacks like this, because you accelerate the energy to it, and then you basically sit there in the active, letting your opponent have a free swing. And there will be games where you attach the energy to it using this attack, and then your opponent just comes and KOs you and it's over. That's a bad thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bad thing. But then we've got 4 energy, 90, plus 30 more for each metal energy attached to this Pokemon. And this I actually like very much indeed. 4 metal energy, that is 120, plus the 90 is 210. You're close to the magic number for these, but you can keep accelerating energy and rolling. Is there any issue with this? Yeah, energy acceleration. Remember that Metal Saucer has rotated, so that basically means your only option here is really Magnezone, and that's at stage 2, and it's not guaranteed, and it's a little bit awkward. If you can get something like Magnezone rolling, this can do huge damage while being very hard to KO. I worry it's just not going to end up being good enough. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, 8 new Pokemon EXs. 8 new starter decks coming in Japan, but one more reminder that we have got those Omakase decks coming, and that means that there are going to be 8 of these that you can kind of pick, but you get one of them at random, or you get one of 2 others, so you can either just go and buy the deck you want, or you can go and try the Omakase one, get a random, and you might get one of the 2 others. What I will say is I am sitting and crossing my fingers really, really hard that these other 2 decks have terrible EXs. Because if these Omakase decks come along, and it turns out they've actually got really good EXs in, but the only way to find them is a 1 in 10 chance when you're buying the Omakase decks, that is going to be horrendous. Okay, there we go. For now, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about this, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, all kinds of fun things. Oh, and get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Unknown One, who's been a supporter of ours for a while and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and for being lovely. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.